Good morning. What's good? It's your girl Squeeze Jones, aka Killer Queen T, aka Blackout T, aka Ooh Wee. I got my intro right. I think. I'm not really sure. I know you like to quit. You created the intro. How you not know if you got it right? Ooh, look at the glow on my face. Don't worry about everything else. Leave it in the comments. Alright. So we are about to finish the Sisterhood of BlackBerry Corner. We got, I think we at the end. We should be able to finish it. I honestly believe that I should be able to finish this and give y'all a little something else. You know what I'm saying? It's been a minute since I gave y'all a 2 for 1. You probably been wondering, please, have you been able to do it? Can you still do it 2 for 1? You might be a little short. Coming out. I can still do a 2 for 1. And here we go. Chapter 19. Thora Dean came to say goodbye. For the last month, she had been telling Bonnie that she needed to go back to Huntsville to tend to Horse's mama. But Bonnie had been so caught up in her own tragedy, she hadn't really heard her. It wasn't until Thora arrived on BlackBerry Corner wearing her traveling hat, a little red pill box, that Bonnie realized that her best friend would soon be gone for Lord knew how long. I shouldn't be leaving you alone like that, she said. But if I don't go, Horse gonna have kittens. Gotta tend to family affairs, Bonnie said, though deep down inside she felt that Thora Dean had held her together since Nance left. Besides, I got Ruby Pearl, Delphine, Miss Adele. But that ain't me. They don't tell you things like I do. They don't keep your little bony ass in line. Horse rolled his eyes. You can call me from Huntsville, Bonnie said. You can tell me about myself long distance. I'm not kidding here, Thora said. I feel bad about leaving you now. I'll be fine, Bonnie said. Horse removed his cap and looked at Bonnie sheepishly. I never got a chance to tell you, Bonnie started. But I hate the way things wound up. With Nass, I mean. You and them damn brethren, Thora argued. Look the other way and keep each other's dirty secret. Horse said, if I'd known that things were going to turn out like they did, you should have opened your mouth about that Lucinda woman, Thora said bluntly. Maybe I better go. Go on back into the car, Horse mumbled. Need to take your ass somewhere, Thora yelled. Horse kissed Bonnie on the forehead. We'll see you, he said. I'll bring your girl back to you as soon as I can. You mean before I kill your mama? I can't stay too long, sugar, Thora said. I know. Thora took Bonnie's hand. You my very best friend, she said. For fact, you the only somebody that can put up with me. You know the sisters come to know you. Even Ruby Pearl come to like you. She come to tolerate me. I hate to admit, Thora said, but them women, they ain't such a bad bunch. They a good bunch, Bonnie added. I mean, they was ready to go to jail along with you, if they had to. And that's saying a lot for a bunch of little old country ladies. Bonnie chuckled. I never knew where this would all wind up. And although life ain't been the greatest for me, when I think about it, things could have been much worse. That's my Bonnie, Thora declared. Now you're starting to sound like yourself again. After the sheriff decided not to take your case no further, she nodded her head affirmingly. I knew all the mess was finally over. But you gotta keep your promise to Pine and Sheriff Ain't no more babies coming this way. Bonnie, you know I was with you all the way with helping these children, Thora said. But they ain't gonna let you off so easy next time. Horse beeped the horn. I got to get on, honey, Thora said, hugging Bonnie again. She held her for a while, then kissed her, leaving a print of 2 red lips on her cheek. We'll be back in a few weeks, she said. By the time Mama Dean should be back on her feet, or dead, Thora started toward the car. She stopped in the path. Lord, as she called out, I almost forgot that I bought you a little present. Let me get it from the car. You ain't have to give me no present, Bonnie called. You nice enough to take care of my house while I was gone? Had to get you a little something. Thora trotted to the car and opened the back door. Bonnie suddenly froze. For a moment, she thought her eyes had deceived her at the sight of her boy Noah. He was in a little black Sunday suit, a shirt and tie. Oh! And his brown face looked so shiny and clean. So many feelings hit Bonnie, all at once. Guilt for having left him for so long. Wonder how the boy felt about her now. But mostly joy that Noah was standing just a few feet away. Noah? Bonnie said, keeping the distance. Mama, look at you. How you doing, sugar? Fine, he answered. Noah seemed unsure of what he should say or do. And Bonnie felt just as nervous. She had often thought about how she explained things to the boy. Her explanation never seemed bright. You didn't come, he said. She walked to the boy and knelt in front of him, praying that she could find the words to explain. Why didn't you come? You ever get scared about things, Noah? She asked. Yes, ma'am. Me too. And that's how I was feeling about you. Only I didn't do the right thing. I should have come to you as soon as I could and talked to you and told you how I felt. He pressed his hands in the pockets of his jacket. Miss River Pearl, she came every day. I waited for you. I know, she said. At first, I got myself in a little trouble, and I thought that I probably couldn't be your mama. You could have came, he insisted. Yes, Bonnie reached out and stroked his face, but when a woman that ain't your real mama comes along, she got to prove that she gonna be the best there is. But you a good mama. You think so? Yes, ma'am. Bonnie wants to hug the child, but Noah seemed so hesitant and afraid. He was the same little boy that his daddy had left. Fearful, neglected, untrusting. And she couldn't blame him. Only now the neglect and mistrust was her own doing. Bonnie decided to thread lightly with the boy. She would talk to him as long as it took, and she would let him ask as many questions as he needed to in order to understand. Just as she was about to stand up, Noah grabbed her around the neck and pressed his cheek against hers. He screamed as tight as he could. Brought tears to my eyes. This is about to make me cry, y'all. Oh my goodness. The waterworks is gonna come, y'all. I'm hoping not. Don't worry. If you crying right now, drop it in the comments. And make daughter, she couldn't move. She couldn't leave. But Bonnie never would. You didn't think I was gonna leave you by yourself, did you? Thora asked. Girl, you do crazy things when you stay alone too long. Suddenly it didn't matter to Bonnie that Nance was gone, or that she had spent the night in jail. Horace thought I had lost my mind, Thora said. I told him I wanted to adopt a child. He said, woman, why can't we adopt a dog instead? When I told him that the child would live with you, well, that was all right with him. This is beyond friendship, Bonnie said, embracing her best friend. Just means that you owe me. And don't worry, I'll think of a way for you to pay. Bonnie laughed. I have no doubt you will. She walked to Horace's car. Noah stayed right on her heels. You a good man, Horace Dean, she said, kissing him on the forehead. I don't know how to begin to thank you. Just take care of that boy, he said. And if you need a daddy every once in a while, Horace pointed his own chest. Now we are finished with this stuff, he asked. Can't abide too much mush. Oh, Horace. And come on, woman, he said to his wife. We need to get gone. That boy, Thora said, wagging her finger at Noah. No, she'll ride the dog's back, and you make sure Bonnie call me twice a week. Can you do that? Yes, ma'am. Good. Now come get Auntie Thora some sugar. Noah raced to her and threw his arms around his neck. Dog, get to hell, boy. You're fixing to wrench my neck. She was about to get in the car, but turned back. See, that's why I ain't got no children, she fussed. Kids drive me out of my mind. Horace beat the horn. All right, I'm coming. And that one, she said, pointing to her husband, he just badged them damn kids. She got in and waved out the window till the car was gone. You hungry, boy? Bonnie asked. Yes, ma'am, he answered. Come on, then. Well, we'll get you something. Can we make a cake? Maybe. Chocolate? We'll see. Bonnie held the screen door while the boy cautiously entered. He looked at the foyer and the living room like it was the first time here. His shoes squeaked as they skidded across the kitchen floor. Bonnie set out the mixing bowl and spoons while Noah took the butter and eggs from the refrigerator. Clearly, the child was nervous and a bit guarded. But his presence felt so natural to Bonnie. Having him here, even right here in her kitchen, seemed to brighten the whole house. And she needed that light. She knew that this wasn't a home she had prayed for or the life she had planned. Yet her life was perfect and her prayers had been answered. Okay, we got a little eulogy. August Randall had Nance's nose, his lips, his athlete posture, and strangely, the same long, tapered feet. But the rest of this tall, attractive... Oh, this is August's daughter. That's cute. So look, the daughter she didn't take, he ended up giving away. Okay. But the rest of this tall, attractive woman, her red skin, her big bones, her dense Indian cheeks, were pure Lucinda justice. I promised myself that I wouldn't get all sentimental when I saw you, she cried. But I guess I'm pretty emotional these days. These days, Joe Round Bonnie had pictured him as a tall, lanky, and sturdiest looking. She imagined that he wore little round glasses, always a jacket inside, and an expression filled with deep thought. But Joe Randall was at least a foot shorter than his wife, stocky, with a bald head and an earring. He looked like one of Buddha's statues that Bonnie had seen in a thrift store in town. Girl, you about ready to bust wide open, Thora said. How long you got left? Can you believe I still have 2 months? Hold on, y'all. Big as you are, Thora said, clearing the throw pillow so the woman could sit. Seemed like you ready to drop any day. I checked on the hospitals in the area just in case, Joe said. Mary M. Accurate is about 3 miles from here, Thora said. And as I understand, the maternity is. Somehow, Bonnie didn't expect to be so struck by Augustine's looks. She knew she'd found Lucinda in the girl because Lucinda had such distinctive coloring and a strong, craggy sculpture to her face. But Bonnie was astonished to see how much Augustine looked like Nas. She watched the woman as she spoke of her pregnancy and their life in New Jersey. Augustine tilted her head reflectively, much the same way that Nas did. She used her large hands expressively, just like Nas did. But it was a smile that caused Bonnie's heart to crack. Nas's smile, shy and wholly infectious. And at least once a day, Bonnie still thought of Nas. Most times it wasn't painful. She often remembered the early days of their marriage, the way her simple life was so fulfilled by his presence. Until she began to long for a child, he had been everything to her. Bonnie had never seen Nas again after he had left his baby with her. Shortly after, one of the brethren, Scooter, had said that Nas moved to Dalton, Ohio to coach a minor league baseball team. Oh, he did leave her with the baby. My bad, y'all. He did leave the baby. He left the baby on the back porch, even though he had asked, he wanted her to raise the baby. She said she couldn't do it. He left the baby on the back porch and he left. And then she ended up getting the baby adopted. To coach a minor league baseball team. He always wanted to do that. He had wanted to leave the 3 sisters and coach just as much as she wanted a child. Bonnie was glad they had both gotten what they wanted in life. Then about 2 years after he left, Bonnie received divorce papers. And with the last two she would share from Nas Wilder, she signed them and sent them on their way. Joseph Randall scanned the pictures on the mantle. Pictures of Ruby Pearl, Bonnie and Thora in their younger days, pictures of Wayne, and many pictures of Noah as a child, teenager, and adults. Is that your son, Miss Wilder? Joe asked as he picked up a picture of Noah and Bonnie posing together on the bank of the creek. That's my Noah. He lives in North Carolina now with his wife Effie and their 2 kids. 2 little girls, Thora added. One name is Isaiah and the other is, what's that tiny one's name, Bonnie? Rashida. Lord, these young folks and their names, Thora laughed. But they the cutest little family. And Noah's a lawyer, Thora added. He do that civil rights law. Don't make much money, Lord knows, but Noah always had a big heart. Just like his mama. Noah has been the light of my life, Bonnie said. And he was one of the children, just like you, she says to Augustine. One of the abandoned children, Gusty asked. Well, we never called them that, Bonnie said. Like to call them our little precious gifts. But yes, Noah did come to me that way. Did you take one of the children too, Thor? Joe asked as he continued to scan the pictures. Hell no. I wanted the mama kind. But like the other ladies, I helped out where I could. How many women were there, Gusty asked. There were 6 of us ladies. 6 in the sisterhood of BlackBerry corner, Thora said sarcastically. She and Bonnie laughed. That's what we like to call ourselves, Bonnie explained. Just this identity thing. Yeah, I know, Joe Randall put in. At the university where I teach, every group has to have a name. There was me, Thora, and Ruby Pearl, Bonnie started as she counted her fingers. About 10 years ago, Ruby Pearl moved up north to Hassel after her son, Wayne, got married. That was some wedding, wasn't it, Bonnie? Thora asked. Prettiest I've seen. And it didn't even matter, Thora prattled on, that Wayne's fiancée name is Coral. She a teacher just like that. Was 6 months pregnant when she walked down the aisle. Then there was Delphine and Olivia, Bonnie interrupted. Olivia was still in the 3 sisters. Ain't right in the head no more, Thora said. Got that Alzheimer's, and once she wound up wading in the creek at 3 in the morning. Delphine passed some years ago, Bonnie went on. And Miss Ideen, that's her old heart, Thora said. That woman lived till she was 92. Joe pointed to a picture at the back of the mantle. Is that, honey? That's Nas Wilder. You know who Nas Wilder is, young man? Thora asked. Joe's quite a baseball historian, Gussie explained, especially when it comes to Negro Leagues players. He turned to Bonnie. Nas Wilder played for the Black Crackers. That's right, Bonnie said. Wait a minute, Joe said. Nas Wilder? You were married to Nas Wilder? Yes, Bonnie said. Is he still alive? Joe asked. Far as I know, Bonnie replied. We divorced some years ago. Miss Wilder, Joe said, maybe later we can see a few more of Nas' old pictures. Bonnie nodded. I expect we'll get around to talking about the league, especially about Nas. Bonnie rose to go into the kitchen. Maybe I ought to get us some refreshments. You sit and visit, Thora said. I'll go. Augustine was studying the pictures on the mountain with her husband. How many babies did you get, Miss Wilder? She asked. There were 11 altogether. And what number was I? Seeing Augustine wasn't as hard as she thought it would be. Yes, she was Nas, and she was certainly Lucinda. But Augustine Randall was also a living, breathing person and not the personification. Ah! Y'all see how y'all thought on the first try? And y'all like, really, squeeze? Is it really that deep? It is. But if you don't think it is, drop it in the comments. Of a marriage gone bad. After all, the women represented her heart's work, a child that had survived a desperate mama in a hopeless situation. It was all so personal, yet Augustine's circumstance was not very different from Ryan's. Noah's, Madeline's, Amelia's, or any other child's that had come her way. Thora returned with a sandwich platter and a pitcher of sweet tea that Bonnie had made earlier. Come sit on down, Mama, Thora said to Augustine. You and Joe both had yourself something to eat. Over coleslaw and turkey sandwiches. Come on now, you sure taking a long time to tell her who her daddy is. Bonnie and Thora told Augustine the story of her beginnings. At times the girl laughed and at times she wept, but she seemed fascinated by every detail, every description, and every bit of conversation. And Bonnie, that was cute. If this was a movie, they would have started with the story, and then it would have ended with Thora Dean and them sitting down and her ending the story. That was cute. By every detail, every description, and every bit of conversation that Bonnie and Thora could recall. Joe Randall was stunned by the entire story. When a young couple left BlackBerry Corner early that evening, Augustine looked exhausted. Exhausted, content, and filled with a strong sense of herself. For Bonnie, the experience of Augustine's visit was like a circle closing. She had finally faced her ghost just as Thora Dean had always done. Bonnie glanced at her old friend chuckling at the Golden Girls on TV. There was certainly something liberating about speaking literal squeeze. Yep, I fucked up again. Drop it in the comments. You can make fun of me. About speaking your mind, speaking your heart. Bonnie went to the phone. She had Paris know she'd make reservations to come and visit him in North Carolina before summer's end. He and Thora Dean have been pushing her to take the trip, but Bonnie had always stayed close to home. Now suddenly she felt lighter, as if the world was a far bigger place than she could ever imagine. Yes, Bonnie would take the train to North Carolina. Or better yet, maybe she'd fly. That was so good! I'm so gate. So gate. So gate. They're like, race. Yes. I can give y'all I'm gonna be able to give y'all 2 chapters. This is for the little children. Love killing. This will be marked as a kid video. So gonna do 19 and 20 of Get Rich Mitch. Mr. Figgle kept on talking. There's a radio station a few miles from here. Emerald is gonna leave off your note there in the envelope marked from Rich Mitch Dartmouth. You wrote those words for us, At any rate, I'm sure the envelope will be opened immediately, and I predict that within an hour, everyone will know that Mitch is safe. Warner wasn't licked. And you think it won't look suspicious for this? Hulk, Amin, to leave off a note from Rich Mitch. Mr. Figgle chuckled. Not when he shrugs and says, some kid all dressed up in a fancy blazer handed me $5 to leave this here. Then, of course, Emerald would simply walk out. I began to realize that Wanda and I would be mumbling and grumbling together in the back seat. But then I had an idea. Mr. Figgle, I think my disappearance will make me and my dad more famous. Oh, absolutely, said Mr. Figgle, for about 5 minutes. Then the public would accept you're not being around, and they will all turn to hoem. I intend to virtually promote Turnip Head while you're out of sight. Inmon has already lined up several California interviews for me and my Turnip Head. Wanda touched my arm. We're in trouble, she whispered. He's brilliant and he's weird. And it's a wild combination, and we got to get out of here. Any ideas? I whispered. Yeah. Wanda put her mouth to my ear. When Edmond stops at the radio station, I put my mouth to Wanda's ear. Yeah, that's what I've been thinking. Wanda and I kept rotating mouths and ears as we whispered together. I bet he knows we're thinking of it, she said. We'll have to try. Okay. After Edmond gets out of the car and goes into the station, we'll bolt out of the car and run. My ears were tickling for Wanda's whispering, but it wasn't the right time to complain. I asked, where will we run to? What direction? Let's separate. This will give us 2 different chances, and all we need is one. I'll run down the street and go into the alley or something, whatever's around. But you're famous. You can start yelling on the street or dashing to the radio station. Yo, help. I'm Rich Mitch, and Mr. Fickle is trying to kidnap me. Anything like that will do fine. If you get caught and I escape, expect to be rescued very soon. It isn't like you're being kidnapped by an anonymous stranger. Mr. Fickle was a public figure. We leaned back and were silent and tense. I could hardly wait to pull up in front of the radio station and try a plan. On the other hand, I felt like waiting forever. We're here, Mr. Fickle said as the car slowed down in front of the radio station and stopped. Wanda and I got ready to make our move, but we tried to act natural. Good looking building, I said. Wanda and I watched Edmond. He didn't want to move too fast or too slowly. We didn't want to move too fast or too slowly. We had to wait until he got out of the car, and then, just as soon as he walked into the radio station, we would bolt. I would go first because I was sitting on the side next to the car. Wanda would follow immediately. We wanted to leave at the same instance, but that would have meant that Wanda would be getting out on the traffic side of the car. We were smart enough and calm enough to decide against that. Maybe we were smarter than Mr. Fickle. You not. We weren't. Mr. Fickle suddenly opened the window on his side of the car and yelled, "Hey, ma'am," tossed something at the lady who was about to enter the radio station and said, "Go. Go, Edmund." Our car sped off. I looked through the black window. The lady had turned and picked up whatever Mr. Fickle had thrown. "Change the plans," Mr. Fickle said with a chuckle. "No, that was your original plan," I said. "You made up the other one about Edmund going into the station." Mr. Fickle kept chuckling. "Clever young man. The 2 of you were just waiting for your chance to escape. And this was supposed to be it, I imagine." "Don't be so smug, Fickle," Wanda said. She had dropped the mister. She was furious. "You just goof. You like to toss, don't you? You talk something to a man at the TV show, and now you toss that forged note to a lady on the street. She'll probably just read it and think it's a joke and throw it away." "No, she was on her way to the police. She was on her way to the radio station," Mr. Wiggle said. "I'm sure she had someone in charge." "Well, maybe she will, and maybe she won't," said Wendell. "Oh, she will," said Mr. Figgle. "One more thing. I wrapped a little package in a $100 bill. It's a rich gesture. It goes nicely with Mitch's note. Sort of a thing. Like he's throwing away his witches." "Wonderful," said Wanda in a defeated voice. I spoke up. "Maybe she noticed you and us and the car." "No, all she got was a quick look, if that. And this is an expensive car. Rich Mitch leaves in style, if it's the thing." Wanda groaned. Mr. Figgle turned and looked at us. "I do wish that you both would enjoy this a bit." "I've gone to a great deal of trouble, you know." "We believe it," said Wanda. I whispered to Wanda, "We have to think of something else." It's hard to think of something else when you're moving a car, but I tried. When we stopped at a far red light, I tried to roll down the window and shout, "Help!" But the window was fixed, so it wouldn't open. Wanda tried for a hand signal to a car that was stopped next to us, but the people in it just smiled and waved. Mr. Figgle seemed invisible. It was getting dark. Wanda and I didn't bother to whisper anymore. There was nothing to whisper about. "I have to go to the ladies' room." It was Wanda, speaking up in a firm voice. "We don't have one in the car," Mr. Figgle answered. That almost surprised me. Mr. Figgle seemed to have thought of everything else. He turned to Edmond. "Look for an isolated gas station or something along that line." I wondered if this was part of an escape plan of Wanda's. I couldn't whisper an accent. It would seem like we were conspiring again. Edmund, who was good at everything else, was good at finding a desert-looking gas station. It was a lonely road, it was dumpy looking, and it had a front like it might be closed or open. Sort of nothing, nowhere look. Edmund parked just beyond it. "This looks fine," Mr. Figgle said. "Now we're all getting out together and walking to the restroom. Just a group of weary travelers. Fortunately, it's almost dark." We got out of the car. That's when I found out that Mr. Figgle had control of the door openers. Wanda and I couldn't have bolted in front of the radio station anyway. I looked around anxiously. If only I could get near enough to someone to shout, "Help! I'm Rich Mitch! I'm Rich Mitch and I'm being kidnapped!" There was no one. I wish I knew if Wanda had a plan. We found the restroom and Wanda went inside while Mr. Figgle, Edmond, and I waited outside. It seemed like we were waiting a long time. I remembered all the escape from restroom movies and TV shows I'd seen. A person goes to the door and out the window. Boy, I was tired of watching that old trick. It was too simple and obvious and wouldn't really work in real life. Mr. Figgle sighed. She's taking a long time, and I know why. She's busy writing the messages on the wall. So dull. We'll just go in and wipe them off when she's finished. That was it. Poor Wanda. And they're writing her heart out. Mr. Figgle sighed again. Whatever is she writing in there? A book? A brief message would have sufficed? Doesn't the school system teach you kids to express your thoughts in simple, concise language? At last, Edmund knocked on the door. Well, wait in, he said. Wanda didn't answer. Mrs. Figgle spoke up. Would you kindly communicate, young lady? Are you all right? No answer. I was getting worried. What if Wanda had fainted or something? Kindly respond, said Mr. Figgle. If you don't, we're going to force open the door. No answer. Edmund figgled around with the lock. He knew locks. It didn't take him long to open the door. The restroom was empty, and there was an open window. Now, mind you, he said she probably was going to do that, but then he was like, that can't work in real life. It just can't work in real life. And it has. So, let me see how many chapters we got left. 2. We got 3 chapters left. So, I'm not going to do that today because I don't want to make this too long. And I already feel like I spoiled you kids. Spoiled you kids. So, with that being said, we is out. We out. We out. Leave a thumbs up. Leave a thumbs down. Leave a like. Leave a comment. Leave something for the algorithm. The YouTube algorithm needs you. You like, bitch, this algorithm ain't paying me. Well, you know what? They need you.